the sort of the energy that surrounds Harry Potter just never gets to be a mundane experience, and I'm always so overwhelmed and grateful by everyone's continual commitment to the story, and just sharing everyone's like happiness that Harry Potter has brought them is always like so exciting. So it's been definitely, from last weekend we're at the theme park in Orlando, and this weekend it's been a Harry Potter week.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You've got
That's
it.
all right. That's quite all right. Oh. Take some time. Take some time. Okay, round of applause right quick for her.
If your question's still burning and we can ask it at the end, or you can ask me on your own.
There we go.
In the quiet.
We'll ask later. Hello.
What was your favorite thing about playing a Hogwarts character?
Ooh, I used to love just hanging out in the Gryffindor common room. It's a pretty cool set. I always feel like it never. I think in the first early films, it was in the films a lot, and then slowly it sort of just we left it behind. And I never went to boarding school, so the idea of having this sort of living room that would be like your home but with your friends, to me was a really cool idea. And it was always super cozy and very red and golden. And there was a big fireplace that was really cozy. And I never wore a uniform to like my regular normal school. So my first and only uniform I ever wore was my Gryffindor one.
Which is kind of amazing.
That was pretty cool. So I was into it. Although there were some days in the Great Hall that you did not like it because it was so hot because of all the fire that, there's all those lamps that are around the outskirts of the Great Hall and like hundreds of people and loads of food. So by the end of the day, you're hating your cloak. But other days, I was very proud to be wearing my Gryffindor outfit.
So I grew up reading the books and watching the movies, and I was always curious, if you could go back and redo any movie or any scene, either because it was your favorite one and you want to re-experience it again, or you just want to redo it because you didn't like the way it came out, what scene or what movie would you redo?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like there was so much, I'm sure everyone will agree here, but there was so much in the books for everyone's character that wasn't able to be in the movies, which was always a shame. I feel like either, for me, I would have loved to like have more of Ginny's Quidditch stuff, so you kind of like see where she goes in terms of that like really strong sort of leader sort of figure that she was. And I think I also loved all of the Dumbledore's army scene we did in the Room of Requirements. I just would have loved, I think there was so much, there was a lot of it, luckily, as well in the movies, but I feel like some more of that would have been really cool, and how out of Dumbledore's army, there gets to be this sort of smaller group that's an extension of, like, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, which is obviously the three of them, and then Luna, Ginny, and Neville. Like, I loved all of those scenes, and I think that was a really strong, like, they become the sort of, the new generation of the sort of, the team that are going to fight against evil magic. So I love that. So I would happily go back to those scenes. Dumbledore's army, all the stuff we did in the Ministry of Magic. That would be cool.
Now, is that because, like, coming at it from an actress standpoint or from a directorial standpoint? Because I know you've directed some stuff.
Yeah, I guess that probably from an acting perspective, just because for me, those moments in the story are the building blocks to understand, like, why Ginny and Harry kind of end up together. And I think those, and then I guess from a director's perspective, I think more of those, like, stepping stones and build to that relationship would have been helpful for that story, and also just because I think it is a great love story that happens, like, so slowly. You know, those slow burns, we all know those.
But it lasts longer, right? Boom. Hello.
Hi.
You were able to work with such a great cast, and you pretty much grew up with them. I was wondering what sort of favorite moment you had working with the cast and being on set.
Yeah, I guess for me, I was always so thankful and happy to be part of the Weasley family. Felt like bonus scenes to me. It felt like I was able to have this intimate, actual family experience with them, and just felt so comfortable and safe. And they were always the scenes that we just laughed the most in, and they were just such a lovely bunch of people. And since finishing, that family feeling is still very much there. So I would say, yeah, Weasley.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess the Weasley, again, stuff was always really, really funny. I remember there was a scene that was a prime example of our inability to not giggle sometimes when scenes were almost really inappropriately so. I remember there was a scene in the Burrows when Ginny and Harry are sat on the couch and Ron comes in with a plate of mince pies and sits between us. And we did it honestly, it was a scene that they had scheduled to take half a day, and we're still there at the end of the day. We're come on, we've got to get this done. And we just couldn't stop laughing. He wouldn't even make it over to us, to this, and we'd already be this is ridiculous. We need to pull it together. But people often ask about humor and pranks and all things like that. And even though we were really young, and at the end of the day, probably quite hysterical, I always felt often sorry for the crew that had to deal with us. But then, we even from a young age, we were always so aware that what we were doing was a job. I think it wasn't a cheap set, that's for sure. And all these people who were doing their job were doing it really, really well. And if we kind of joked around too much, it would mean they had a longer day. So it was an interesting way at such a young age to learn about that kind of mixture of the joy that you still want to experience from that process of making something, but then also realize oh, wait a minute, this is I'm being asked something of in this moment, and you kind of have to deliver it. So the hardest part was lying on the floor, pretending to look, half dead. Actually, it was pretty hard. It was pretty cold. That's sounds like the most silly thing, but I remember it was obviously meant to be, it's all wet and dank. It's kind of a sewage kind of feeling. But everything would dry really quickly. They would have to spray the floor to look wet, and I would just be lying there's sprayed around my face. It was so fun. I think the most challenging bit after laying down for so long was waking up. When Harry comes and saves me and gets that basilisk fang into Tom Riddle's diary, and I gasp and wake up to suddenly there was so much of the stuff leading up to it, and when the moment finally came that they're okay, it's that moment now. I'm oh, okay, need to get up. I also think, I was pretty young in that film, so to have that sort of possession through the diary is quite a dark sort of place, and there were lots of stuff that we did that was meant to be kind of the B-roll of her being possessed and having these moments. A lot of them didn't end up in the film, a lot of things can't always, but there were some strange things that we did for her possession through the diary, so that was quite challenging. But I think it was for me in terms of, it was such a big step up for me, and that was a really great, I'm really pleased it happened so early on almost in the films, that I suddenly was oh, okay, this is acting. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.